What's up, friggin' world, and welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. Today we are completing the trio. What does that mean? Well, I'm talking about the House of Argos fragrances, and we've been discussing their brand new Italian line over the past month or so. We talked about Triumph of Bacchus, then we talked about Bacio Immortale. Both of those will be linked up here in a playlist, and this one will be included in that playlist, of course. This is the final one we're talking about. This is called Brivido Della Caccia. My Italian is not on point, but I'm doing my best here. Sorry, the cap is a little smudged. I've been using this thing, and I have some good things to say about it. So, real quick, we'll talk about the presentation as per usual. On the front here, what we're looking at, we see Goddess Artemis here, and we see stags. We're going to talk a little bit about what that means. It's actually a pretty simple story. And by the way, I mean, this art, this is beautiful. Again, each bottle has its own custom plaque depicting the artwork of the story that the scent represents. So this one represents Artemis, who is known as goddess of the hunt, goddess of chastity, and things like that. And she was bathing in the forest, just minding her own business, when apparently, according to the lore, a mortal, some guy, kind of found her in the forest and was spying on her while bathing.
That's a big no-no.
She found him and turned him into a stag. And apparently he had hounds with him. He had dogs with him. She turned him into a stag, and then his dogs devoured him. So the story is known to be both kind of romantic and also tragic. But I think it's just creepy, because don't spy on people while they bathe. Not a good idea. I forgot to mention, the name Brivido Della Caccia translates to thrill of the chase. It's not exactly clear what that is referring to. I'm assuming it's referring to the hounds chasing their former owner, who is now a stag, and then devouring him. I guess. I could be wrong about that, but that is what I infer from it. So let's talk about this box here. And again, every box has different artwork. They're all, again, unique and custom. Beautiful artwork here. I love this. I'm assuming this is our guy, the mortal, who gets turned into a stag, which is kind of represented by these horns, foreshadowing there. I think that's one of his hounds. It's hard to believe that this little guy is gonna devour him. He looks very friendly, but you never know. And it looks like more than just Artemis, but I assume these are multiple goddesses bathing, and this guy just has bad timing. So obviously a little bit of sensitivity here on the box. You know, this is just part of the artwork at the time. And inside of this box, we're gonna open it up. We get this. So again, similar to the other ones, except this one is green, a beautiful forest green, representative of the story here and the imagery. It opens up with the magnets, and oh, what do you know, once again, the bottle's inside. I was just holding it. Future Justin, if you ruin this, I swear.
I'm listening. You swear you'll do what exactly? You already know that once that camera turns off, I'm the one who has all the power here. So hence, you are now frozen. And there's nothing you can do. This man was going to try to deceive you all and say that by the ways of magic, he got that bottle back in the box, even though he was just holding it. But as we've seen before, he's a fraud, and he thinks that he controls this. But it's Future Justin, baby. It's me. Back to the program.
Why don't you just let me have one, man? Just one, bro. Anyway, yes, bottle rests in here very snugly with the foam cut out. So in transit, it's going to be just fine. You have the story here if you want to read it. You have all the notes. And again, similar to what I've done with the other videos, I'm not going to talk about every single note. I'm going to tell you the main notes that I get to my notes here. So first off, I have to say, this is a lot of things to me. This is a strange fragrance. When I first smelled it, I was like, whoa, never smelled anything like this. Couldn't decide if I liked it or not, but I found it interesting. I probably worn this the most out of the three in the line, And this has actually gotten me the most compliments out of the three in the line. This is an unexpected compliment getter. It's because of the way it smells in the air, and we'll talk about that. So, some of the main notes in this one. You get a lot of juniper berry, a very sharp, herbaceous juniper berry, especially off the top. First spray, that's what you're gonna get. Backed by some green mate, which is tea, it's a tea leaf, and it's mainly used to kind of accentuate an herbaceous quality in a scent, more or less. And you kind of get a little bit of like almost that texture. If you can imagine, it's hard, this is really abstract. Imagine drinking tea and the tea leaves in the water, they give a texture to the water itself, and that is kind of what I smell. It sounds ridiculous, but just go with me here. You kind of get that mate in that sense as well. Also a little bit of iris, concrete in the heart. We got some tonka bean. It dries down to some leather. We got some amber in here, and it's even a little bit woody with some birch. So what I mainly get, it's green, it's herbaceous. It reminds me of being out in a forest. I get the earthiness, I get the sharp green nature from that juniper berry. However, on my skin, in the air, this stuff is sweet. It's that tonka bean. And the iris concrete, I think, kind of maybe adds to round it out a little bit, makes it more of a creamy, experience. But that tonka bean, I think that is the key here. That is the compliment getting facet of this fragrance. Why am I holding this? And that is something that's hard to detect when you smell it up close, believe it or not. When you smell it up close, you may not like this. I gotta say, I'm being honest. You smell it up close, you're gonna get that juniper berry, it's gonna slap you in the face. And you might not dig that unless you love juniper, but you let it emanate around you. And again, that's how we experience fragrances anyway, and especially those around us. That tonka bean in the heart really fills out the middle of the scent, makes it sweet. As it dries, it gets a little leathery, and it's warm with that amber. Oh man, it's so unusual, but it's still really pleasant, at least to me. Although I would say this is probably the most polarizing of the three by far. It is so different. I've never smelled anything quite like this, and I really appreciate that. But again, my wearing experience of it in the air is beautiful, and people around me seem to really, really dig it, because I've gotten a lot of positive attention with this. Oh, it's so nice. Performance. No slouch. Just like the others, this is gonna last you your 8 to 10 hours, no problem. It's an eau de parfum. It doesn't scream off the skin, similar to the others. Projection is not beastly, but sillage is great. It's going to leave a beautiful scent trail as you walk. It's going to slowly fill a room as you exist in that room wearing Brivido Della Caccia. And people are gonna ask you about it because it smells so different, but it's very inviting. But again, if they smell it up close, look out. I can't make any guarantees that if someone smells it right on your neck, they're gonna love it, because it is unusual. Great quality, great blend, as with all the fragrances in the line, but this one is the most off the wall for sure. So currently you can pick this up from the Argos website. I think a full bottle, 100 milliliters, is $225. And fortunately, as of recently, as of this month in May, Argos is now reopening international shipping to many countries. I'll try to list them down here. You can see them, see if you can find your country. They're pretty much adding new countries every week. So international shipping is now a thing. If you wanted to get a bottle of something, of this one, or of the Triumph of Bacchus, or of the Bacio Immortale, or if you wanted to get even the Argos Pour Homme or the Pour Femme, or even get samples of them, you can get it. And you can use my code FRESH10, get you 10% off, and experience these fragrances. Just like I've said with the others, 225 bucks. Not cheap. This is pricey stuff. But considering the presentation and everything, there's a lot of intention behind these fragrances with the design and also the scent. Again, great quality stuff. It lasts. I know a lot of people really, really care about that. If you're gonna spend that kind of money, you want the fragrance to at least have great performance and then also smell good. And for me, this is both of those. And if you're looking for something unique, something you've never smelled before, then check out Brivido Della Caccia from Argos fragrances. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. If you've had a chance to check out this fragrance already, let me know down in the comments. What do you think of it? What is your summation of the scent and your experience? Or if you just have an interest in checking it out, we can talk about that too. Regardless, let's talk about it in the comments. If you like the video, like the video. Really appreciate your support. And if you have not subscribed and you want to see more in-depth content like this in terms of reviews on fragrances, at least to this nose and what I detect, then please consider subscribing. Would love to have you back as a part of the Fresh Squad. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.